Welcome and greetings of divine grace and remembrance. This is the Francis Revels-Bey show here at Spreaker.com. And please greet everyone here. Welcome with divine grace and remembrance to all this day. This is April the 1st, 2013. And you're listening to the Francis Revels-Bey show, also known as the Circle of Grace One, Spiritual and Metaphysical Network, here on Spreaker.com. Thank you for becoming a part of my listening audience in my new endeavor to share these teachings with you. And I am honored to have you here, and I appreciate your support. The Circle of Grace One was founded on July 2nd, 1999 A.D. under the aegis and the anointing of the Angel of Grace through divine providence. It has its own spiritual and metaphysical institute called the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance that was birthed into existence on February 7th, 2009 A.D. And I'm the founder, host, and chief principal teacher for both Bishop Francis E. Revels-Bey. Well, this is officially my third live internet radio webcast. Now, I've done some previous shows, and many of you know I've done them through live video streaming through Mogulus, which became live stream back in 2008 going into 2009, and I've been on a little bit of blogtv.com, and I've been on a host of other places, but I realized Internet radio is a nice way to put out the message, so every Monday at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for about 25 to 30 minutes, you're treated to a special free Internet webcast. And this happens every Monday. So if it's 11 a.m. your time now, Pacific Standard Time, for people I know out there in Oakland and L.A. and San Jose and La Jolla, California, San Francisco, you can now be on live listening to it with me, coming through your iPhone or your Android phones with a special Spreaker application. You can listen to the show that way, or be online with me listening to me live. Or perhaps you're out on the East Coast where it's 2 p.m., or you're in the Central Time Zone where it's 1 p.m. Nonetheless, I'm right here in the state of New Mexico in the beautiful city of Albuquerque, and I'm broadcasting live right now. Well, let me give you some of my contact information. If you'd like to contact me after the show, after the show, call my Skype internet number 973-685-5978. That's 973-685-5978. Some of you always share my other 505 number, which is my spiritual prayer and meditational decree request line, and that's 505 717-4722. 505-717-4722. When you call that, you're going to hear a multi-purpose decree and affirmative prayer that will bless you in some kind of way. You don't have to listen to it in its entirety, but it runs just about 2 minutes, and then you can leave your message. You can simply email me at bishopfrancis, BISHOPFRANCIS, at circleofgrace1.net, or iam.circleofgrace1. That's iam.circleofgrace with the number 1 at the end at yahoo.com. Well, today's program is all about springing forth, and we have an opportunity to learn that through a variety of techniques and methods and principles. And I'm going to talk briefly today about 2 of those personal tools of transformation that will help you to spring forth in your life from this very moment, or a day-to-day basis, every day, every night. You can apply these to your own life. And that's if you find them resonating with you. All the information that you get here is from the Circle of Grace 1 Spiritual and Metaphysical Ministry, as well as my institute, the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance. And so on these weekly shows, I will bring to you Decree and It Shall Be, Creative Pathwork Meditation Series. The key to life is numerology. I may talk about crystals, colors, auric fields, anything that can help you improve your life and expand your spiritual walk in life. So my goal here is to share with you within this weekly format this information that you can digest. Well, every moment we awaken to seeing how we use 2 unique tools to assist in our personal and spiritual transformation, and they are called awareness and remembrance. Now, I refer to them as tools because you can adjust them accordingly to your own life experiences. That means what's going on in your life currently, you could use awareness in this present moment and remembrance in this present moment. So what you must ask yourself is, what am I aware? You see, sometimes we can be consumed with a lot of activity all the time. You know, if I'm not mistaken, our brains are processing over 10,000 bits of information all the time, and many of that is current information, past information, and what we call a plausible future information. And we're constantly sifting through all of this, and then we're sifting through our feelings of the moment, and the feelings we had a few days ago, or some experience that may have troubled us, or an experience that gave us a great deal of excitement and joy. And then, of course, along with this, we have to understand that every moment of the day, just like planets, we are in an orbit. We are in a pathway interacting in our lives with others. And we have to recognize ourselves as spiritual, sentient beings. We are energetically connected with each other. So our thoughts, our feelings, our words are loaded with energy that impacts everything and everyone else around us. So here's a basic example of that. It's not just your intention, but your emotional energy and your mental energy, your electromagnetic energy behind your words. And people can feel that. People can feel what you're saying. And how many of you have been around people who speak a completely different language than you do? We all have. In the world that we live in, we interact with people of different cultures. And sometimes they may not be able to speak, let's say, English well, but you may not be able to speak any of their language. But do you realize that people can feel the energy on an emotional level and on a physical level? They can feel that and process that energy that they're taking in on a mental level. And then they look at your body language, they look at your facial expression, and they can get a feeling for what you're trying to communicate to them. Because what they're feeling, the energy that's flowing through your words. So when we choose words wisely, we're being totally aware of our thoughts, meaning totally mindful of our thoughts and our feelings as energy. And you grow in this awareness that your words make an impact that can be either hurtful or beneficial. That means hurtful for who you're saying it to. It can be hurtful for you because it's coming forth from yourself. Or it can be of a benefit to you and yourself and others. So either you are what? Building and strengthening, or you're doing the opposite, which is tearing down, weakening, and being totally destructive at that moment. So that kind of gives us an example of how we always have to watch what we say, watch who you're saying it to, because many people could be more emotionally sensitive than you or more mentally analytical than you are. So you want to be able to get your information out to people so that you're not using a 10-gallon vocabulary, as they say, the big guns, the big words. Try to keep it as simple as possible if you can, so people can comprehend what you're saying. And so I know I happen to be a person who can be very wordy, even though I'm known to be a very quiet person. But when there's something I'm passionate about, I can get a little too wordy at times, or I get a little too excited and talk a little too fast. So sometimes you have to just slow everything down. The brain is processing, the body is processing trillions of bits and pieces of information all the time. So sometimes we have to kind of take a deep breath and kind of slow it down, slow down the mindset just a tad, the heart set just a tad, but still be plugged in through the heart to kind of feel what's going on so we can then gather the information and hear it and receive it in an intuitive process, and then it allows us to acclimate it, digest it, and then use it accordingly. So these are the things that we have to pay attention. Now, along with awareness is remembrance. Now, there's a Hebraic word in here, root word, mem, M-E-M. And it gets in the Kabbalistic form of numerology, it gets the number 40, which happens to be the letter M. So in our regular standard Americanized alphabet, the letter M is the 13th value. And number 13th is rebirth and renewal. It's also being constructive or being destructive, you see. So, and I just covered that just a second ago. So here the Hebraic word for mem meaning womb, W-O-M-B. So it also is a part of the word memory. So what's being birthed and accumulated in your consciousness or in your conscious memory is a series of remembrances that you are or should be aware of. That means what you may have said to someone or what someone may have said to you, how they said it to you, how did the person present their thoughts or ideas to you? How did you present yours? Did you do it calmly? Were you articulate? Did you give examples? Was your body language relaxed? Was your facial expression relaxed? Was theirs the same? Remember means to bring back various elements of the experiences, meaning related experience, hopefully. When we say remember, you see the word member. Member is an entity. So when you remember, is you're rememorizing or memorizing and then repeating it. And these segments, these reference points, you're bringing back together. The ER means the ultimate of that. So you pick out, you want to be selective, but you want to pick that which makes sense in bringing your thoughts. You don't want to bring back so many thoughts of awareness and remembrances where you get jumbled up inside. So you're trying to pay attention to everything that's going on around you and realize that you're processing information all the time. So if remembering means, or the word remember means, to bring back various elements and experiences, feelings and thoughts, deeds and actions that you created. Now, I say it that way, that you created, because we're constantly creating all the time. The universe is creating all the time. We're an integral part of the universe, so we're creating all the time. And how do you create? With your mind. The ideas that come to you. And then these ideas are swirling around on the inside. And some of them we never even get a chance to utilize. Because, well, we got so many thoughts going on. Or sometimes we get sidetracked with daily living. or you get sidetracked with being involved with other people, or you might be drawn to something that's dramatic or traumatic, or something again that gives you pleasure and excitement and happiness. So you may not complete all of the things that you have in your mind, all of the plans, but our thoughts are constantly recycling all the time. So when our thoughts are recycling all the time, we are given this opportunity to get our ideas out, ideas out and across to people. So this is why sometimes people have to pay attention to who's in front of them. Some people are very sensitive emotionally, and they can feel your energies, especially people who are empathic. If you say something to a person who's empathic, you may not be aware that you stabbed them with a word, with the energy behind the word. You may not be aware that you may have said something that didn't make sense because they could feel the energy. They could feel what the intention is like behind the words. They don't even have to see your face. They can feel it, feel the energy, and feel the energy behind the energy. So this is why it's very important when we're speaking to people, whether you're speaking through a telephone, through a Wi-Fi, a video webcam, or you're face-to-face, that every thought that comes through you has a meaning and has a sensation behind it, has an energy field that is connected to. And yes, we all are connected. So we can't say that, what I'm saying doesn't fit, doesn't work, the person's not going to understand. Because if you start putting negatives into everything you're thinking and feeling, people will feel that even before you voice your view, your opinion, or your truth. So you always have to be aware. Perhaps a deeper example would be people in a relationship. And one speaks directly and the other is never listening. Now, how many of us have been in that situation where your spouse, your mate, your other half is talking to you and your mind is elsewhere, engaged in something else? You don't even have to be reading a newspaper or on the computer or watching TV or listening to the radio or doing yard work. Your mind is elsewhere. Or maybe you had some negative experiences of people talking to you in the past, so now you think that's your spouse or your mate, when it isn't. Or maybe you might have someone who's like that, so you train yourself to tune the person out. But then, by tuning the person out, there's some significant information that was said to you, and when that time presents itself where you have to kind of bring that information forward, you can't. Why? Because you weren't paying attention. You weren't mindful of what was being said at that time and how it was being said and the gist, the truth, and the information that you needed to cull from that. So often people aren't listening to each other. Sometimes people get excited. Sometimes people don't want to let other people finish their sentence. They're just bubbling over, so they need to express themselves. And sometimes that's their ego, wants to control or dominate the conversation rather than just waiting and letting that person complete their statement. Now, I know I've done that. I've done that numerous times because I get excited. But I have to remind myself, hey, Bishop, slow down. Other person's in the conversation there with you, whether they're over the phone or a video cam with you or in front of you. Everybody has just as much energy as you have, and they're excited about expressing themselves. So you got to slow yourself down and let other people express themselves. So we have to learn how to be mindful of listening to other people and listen 100%. Because you must keep in mind that person is a part of you. They're in your energy field. You're in their energy field. So you have something equally important to say, but so do they. And the key here is when someone is speaking to you is try not to analyze everything that's coming to you. Try not to perceive it. Just accept it as information. Then, when they're done, then go into it a little bit. Now, sometimes that's difficult because many of us are intuitive, psychic, empathic. Some of us have that just mother wit, as to say, common sense. You've been around people for so long, you kind of know what someone is trying to say to you or not say to you. And so you have to stop and ask, why are you never listening? And why you're not, and when you're not listening, that means you're not aware that you're not listening. So you have to become aware of this and go back to your earlier remembrances of when you did the same thing. or when you were expressing something and the person tuned you out, and their mind was elsewhere. This is why it's important when spouses, mates speak, that the other person is not engrossed in watching a TV show, or reading a paper. Put that apparatus down and engage, listen. Eye to eye contact really helps out. The eyes are the windows of the soul and the heart, so you can feel, so you're having that communication. And that's highly important. So all the while, you have to remain open without any judgment. So to sum this up, how are we going to spring forth in the springtime with these two personal tools of transformation? To be totally aware, to learn to become 100% aware, and to be able to be clear in your memory. Go back to your remembrances, your points of reference. That will help you tune in to what you are being aware of. And if we can do more of that, we can find that we have better communication with our loved ones, with our neighbors, with strangers, especially, with people that you don't even know. You have a good, healthy conversation because you're listening without judgment. You're not listening with your ego engaged. You're listening with the divine presence engaged. You're listening with the soul engaged. You're listening with an open heart and an open mind. And that's very, very important. Well, I want to leave this, and I want to give you the universal presentation for today. This was a universal presentation, but using from the Key to Life is numerology. This is a 6th universal year that we're in, and this is a time of commitment, being family oriented. Singles will be seeking partners. Partners will be seeking a better way to grow closer and together to support each other. Families will be closer. Children will be closer to their moms and their dads, and hopefully the other way around. And siblings will be better able to connect without judgment, to have an open heart, and be really in the sea of unconditional love, remembrance. Because this is highly important. Unconditional love is very, very important. Also, being that this is a 6th universal year, we want to really pay attention to being more aware and more responsible for our own health. Don't rely on everybody else to cure you. You can only be the doctor. See, the Egyptian says, well, the Greeks said it, but they took it from the Egyptians back in time that said, heal thyself, physician, heal thyself. Meaning you're a scientist of life. You're an alchemist of life. So you have this ability with everything that's on the planet where you find yourself to find everything out there that can help you gain a better sense of your wellness, your wholeness, and to be more complete with yourself. So it's learning to tune into not only nature, Mother Gaia, but the presence of Mother Gaia and all of the earth within you. So whichever path you decide to go down, you still want to be responsible for your own health, which is your wealth. Your true wealth is your health, and your awareness of that. And then your prosperity and your abundance grows from that. Because if you have a healthy mind and a healthier body, then you can really enjoy your life better. And you can get out and do more things and become more magnetic and to have more things flowing into your life. So also, this is a personal month. 6 plus 4 is 10, being original in your ideas and inventive and creative and being the leader in your own life and teaching your children to lead themselves, to be independent thinkers. That's very important, be pioneers in their own life. So the 1 personal year, so to be able to be analytical, but be clear with truth and have good, strong discernment between what's right and what's wrong, meaning what's good for you and what isn't good for you. So you got to pay attention to what you're feeling as well as what you're thinking. Now you're in the 6th universal year, a 1 universal month. So that makes today being the first day of April in this man-made calendar system, but according to the science of numerology, it's a 2 universal day. And 2 is partnerships, unions, it's balance, it's harmony, it's details, paying attention to details. It's not being cold-hearted, it's being warm-hearted, it's being more kind-hearted, putting a smile on your face, greeting the day with a smile, greeting people you don't know with a smile, being able to embrace people in your household with a hearty hug. and realize that you're all in the same boat, the sea of consciousness, of beauty and harmony and rejuvenation. There's also an opportunity to create a harmonic balance in your own life. So there's a lot of things that you want to be able to do today. Now, if you're out there involved in business, perhaps, watch what you sign. Read between the lines. Read all the detailed print and take your time before you sign a legal document, because 2 deals with partnerships, arrangements, and contracts. And you want to be aware of everything that you're doing, especially if your name is attached to it. Okay, so that's highly important. It's a day of love and balance and harmony, and 2 represents the moon, the lunar energy, and Monday or Moon Day is that kind of day. So this is an opportunity as you come out of the weekend to be able to pay attention to how you want to maintain a sense of balance going throughout the rest of the week and being peace. So be an ambassador of goodwill, be an ambassador of peace and unconditional love today. These are some of the things you might want to be concerned with. Before I sign off in our program, I want to read you a universal decree for freely becoming and being the presence I am. And I am being a whole and complete being. And this was channeled to me that I used back on Friday, October 1st, 2010. But I wanted to share this with you. Okay, through divine power, in fact, a part of this I'm going to share. Through divine power and by divine grace, we now open up to the presence and the infinite power of divine grace and eternal remembrance. In this very moment, in the mighty depths of silence and of light, we now allow all of ourselves to live, speak, and act with and from our I amness as our current stream of consciousness that was once a dream, a vision, and a recollection has taken us from ancient and distant lands across the expansive seas of our time and our true divinity, revealing our lineage, which is our roots, releasing us from all limitations, old, outdated beliefs. We are not just reawakening, rebirthing, and retransforming ourselves from the original blueprint in all realms of creation. That's what we're doing. We're not just doing it, we are doing it. So I decree that my sacred inner child within is free to play. I decree that the man or woman in me is free to play and be. I decree that I shall be free to embrace the new me, the ancient modern master called I am, as God in me. Now I'm going to skip to the end of this. I see and decree that the seer is now the seen, and you have arrived, bright, clear, as a wise sage with a divinely magical mind, full of understanding, joy, celebration, truth of a healing heart of unconditional love with the light of eternal divine grace. Well, brothers, sisters, everybody in my listening audience and people who are going to hear this later, may your day be a pleasant day. May your week be a week of pleasantries. And no matter what you're going through, remember that you're thoroughly supported by the universe and that the cosmic law that helps you through is action. Don't let yourself sit too idle. Don't put yourself in a position where you're constantly worrying about what isn't. But be grateful for the things that you have, the things that you have accomplished, and the wonderful people in your life. Even those that have given you difficulty, be appreciative that you were able to get through the task with them, and they cause you to become one who can remember your divinity, remember your awareness. And so next week I will be back at this time at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for our weekly show, Decree and It Shall Be, which is also Circle of Grace One's spiritual and metaphysical internet radio program. And I'm looking forward to introduce many things that I can teach. I may talk about crystals next week, or more about meditation, or perhaps I might talk more about auras. People always like to know about their aura and what they see or feel and the technique of seeing it. Well, until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance.
Following the road to nowhere.